we're partnering with the associate companies to provide activities for young people, particularly over the summer months, so that we're working together and using the two resources of Sadlers Wells and the associate companies to provide something for young. I really believe that if you can bring somebody to the theatre when they're young, they may disappear again for a number of years in their teenage years and early 20s, but they will come back at some point. And I think it's very important that first experience is one which is meaningful and which has been given, there's a rounded sort of experience.
And so Sadlers Wells is about the future. It's about the future of young dancers. It's about the future of appreciation dance. It's about a whole range of activities that you can be involved in. And that's, I think that's the good thing. It is building tomorrow. And that's really important for something like Runway Dance Company, because we are about new work, we're about new ideas, we're about developing choreographers, we're about keeping a tradition alive as well as looking to the future. Education is important for contemporary dance because we're able to reach a lot of people who don't, especially young people, who don't have a relationship with the theatre already. We teach referral groups, we teach young people who have never been to the theatre before, so we have to start right at grassroots, how to behave in the theatre, what to look out for when you're watching contemporary dance. They may never have heard live music before in the theatre, so during our matinees we're able to explain to them how that works, their relationship with dance. It spreads the word to young people that this is a serious profession that you can be part of if you want to, even to work in the theatre, to be an audience member, just to appreciate it, to actually train to be a dancer, to work backstage, to work in design, to work in lighting. And watching someone dance on stage, you don't need to know anything about it to appreciate it. It's music. Everyone loves music, and when you hear music, you either want to sing or dance. And I'm the sort of person that wants to dance, so I can relate to that. I think for a lot of young people, just moving about, it's something that they can't explain, but there's something primal that they really want to do. It's also a great confidence builder, and it touches on ideas, which I really like. I think dance is about ideas. It's about ideas to do with pure movement. It's ideas to do with theatricality. It's ideas to do with lighting. It's fantastic for us because we work with an orchestra. It's ideas to do with music. It's ideas to do with who you are.
Well, my association with Sadlers Wells goes back a long way. My Nutcracker premiered here in '93. My famous Swan Lake premiered here in '95, and all my big productions have opened here at Sadlers Wells. And I think because the kind of work I do is about telling stories and with characters that an audience can identify with, and a story that people can get involved with, and music that's often quite familiar, famous music, it's brought in this big new audience to this theatre. So the association works great for both of us in a way, because we tend to play longer runs here. So anything that excites people about dance and brings them into to see it is really important, because it's a world that people find mysterious often, and sometimes the work can be mysterious, and people feel possibly that they're not going to get it, or that they already have decided they don't like it. So with any kind of education and outreach work that kind of educates the younger audience, or any age of audience actually, that this is something for them, and to get them excited by that and inspired by that, and then bring them to see the work itself. And then once you've got them in the theatre, I think then you win people over. When I was a young boy, I loved dancing from a very early age, and I'd watched it on films. I didn't really know about modern dance or ballet or anything like that, but I loved movie musicals and things I'd seen on TV, and that's how I got into dance. It was always there. The interest was always there, but I didn't really know what to do with it. And we're talking 30 or so years ago now, and as a boy in Walthamstow, East London, it wasn't the sort of thing that you would talk about at school. I wish it had been. And I think things have changed so much now, and I think it is, with all the great things that have happened to popularise dance, and people in the dance world sometimes would just go, oh, but not another mention of Billy Elliot, or Strictly Come Dancing on TV, these sort of things. But I think they're brilliant because they've actually excited people about dancing, and they've made it cool to dance. They've made it seem possible for people to dance, that you could look at someone learning learning this skill and getting such joy from it and pleasure from it. It makes you feel you can do it.
My association with Sadler's Wells Theatre is really important, mainly because it's given me a visibility that I hadn't had before, and it's also really great to collaborate with very large projects with a company that's had over 100 years of experience of doing the best work. And yeah, it's just really good to be around this community. It's brilliant. Well, it started with Breaking Convention, coming in programming, and then my company was made associate company as part of the program of associate artists. But what's always been really important for me is my artistry, but very importantly is the lineage and the passing on of knowledge, particularly within a form that hasn't had that much experience in a theatrical setting. So I figured that being here was really important to develop education projects. Education work is important because that's how the next generation learns. There's no other real way of doing it, do you know what I mean? I think what's important nowadays is that there are options for young people, do you know what I mean? So education is important, but I think more importantly, young people should be able to choose what type of style they want to do. Dance for me was a way of being someone. Yeah, I was known in the area as that guy that danced a lot, and yeah, it was just a beautiful way of expressing myself from a very young age. The thing is, I grew up in a family where everybody was a dancer, do you know what I mean? My older brother was an amazing dancer that was known by loads of people around the way. And I was really, I guess I want to be my brother, do you know what I mean?
I wouldn't be here doing what I'm doing if there was no education and outreach program. Simple as that. I mean, I got involved a lot when I was a young kid. With a lot of education programs, and so I got to see a lot of the professional artists who came and inspired us during these workshop periods, and I think that connection to the young people is crucial, because there needs to be a bridge, if you like, between people, young people who would like to aspire and be inspired. And when I was young, I remember that I always felt, I don't know if I could ever. That's a really special place. I don't know. Maybe they're very special people, but actually they're not. They've been fortunate to have a certain training, but through the education work, there's been a bridge, and so you feel actually I can see a pathway, and that pathway is very important. That the young people can feel like there is a direction, and it's not just for a special kind of people. They can also they are also special, and so you just need to find you need to kind of light the way, or show them the bridge in a way, and so it's very important for me. I think what dance does is it speaks without speaking. I think that's what's very powerful about it. So it speaks without speaking verbally, and so there's this very strong universal language. And that language is through the body. Everybody speaks through their body, whether they're sitting down or even when they're talking verbally. There's a physical movement happening, and so there is a very strong Everybody has a very strong connection, in a way, to the body, whether they're conscious or subconscious of it. And so, in a way, it's for me the language of movement or of the body is a universal language.